Good morning, friends. It is always great to greet you in this virtual world. I pray for the day when I can greet you face to face. Um, I was going to post my sermon from Sunday as my weekly message, but after the events that have just transpired in Minneapolis, I feel that as a faith leader, I need to um, respond to the events of the murder of George Floyd by the Minneapolis police officers. I watched the video like several of you, and I had no words. I was angry. I was sad. I was this whole ball of emotions that was wrapped around the premise of how could a man who, because of the color of his skin, because of the racial injustice that we have in this country, was murdered in front of a video camera and in front of several people, and no one came to his assistance. This is not the paradigm that we should be living in as followers of Jesus. This is not the paradigm we should be living in as general human beings in this world, but rather we should be the opposite. We should be advocating for justice. And I call upon you this morning to pray, first of all, for the repose of the soul of George Floyd, but I also call you to act, to demand justice, to go back to our baptismal covenant, which asks us, will you respect the dignity of every human being? It doesn't say, will you respect the dignity of those that look like you, those that think like you, those that act like you, but rather it is the dignity of every human being. And I charge you this day to be an advocate for justice in our world. The Bishop-elect of Minnesota, Craig Loya, put into words something that I would like to share with you. Bishop-elect states, I am heartbroken and angry by the cold-hearted murder of George Floyd, a beloved child of God. America in 2020 is a place where Black men are regularly murdered by police, where they are handcuffed and begging for their lives. This simply does not happen to people who look like me. Not all of us are guilty of committing racist hate crimes, of course, but all of us are culpable in a society that devalues Black and brown lives. While it would be easy for me to point the finger at the cops who have been rightly fired for committing murder, I am privileged in countless ways, known and unknown, by the racist foundation upon which our nation is built. The way of Jesus is never about fearing and devaluing the other. It is always about giving up ourselves for love of one another. It is about making space in the center of those who have pushed to the margins. It is about receiving the one another across difference as a pure gift and blessing. My job as a Christian leader is always about making space for voices that have been silenced and repenting of the injustice which I commit and which are committed on my behalf. I hope you will join me in praying for the repose of the soul of George Floyd, for his family and friends. I hope you will join me in lamenting the racism we continue to tolerate together. I hope you will join me in repenting of the sin of racism that is alive and well in our church and in our world. And I hope you will call me to church and in our world. And I hope you will call me to account whenever I fail to make space for voices of those who cry, please, please, which is the work Jesus is always engaged in. Unquote. Bishop-elect Loya gives us this understanding and theology that the church's job and the way of Jesus is to create space for the voice of the voiceless. And that is the work that we try to do in our church, in this St. Edward's community. But as I've told you before, the work of the church is not limited by the bounds of these walls, but rather it continues in everything that we do. It continues at the grocery store, it continues in our homes, it continues in our communities. And it is our job as followers of Jesus to come and to fight these injustices, to work for justice and peace. to live in a world where every human being is valued as being a child of God. No matter our race, no matter our creeds, no matter any other thing that we take on as labels into our lives, does it mean that we are any better than any other person? Our faith dictates that we are all the same because we are beloved children of God. And I use that term beloved purposely. We are beloved children of God. No matter the race, no matter the creed, no matter the sexual orientation, all that matters is as humans, as children of God, we are beloved. My friends, this is what I was trying to encapsulate on Sunday when I spoke to you that our church is never closed. The building is closed, but the work of the church continues every single day. The church is the people. The church are the children of God. The church is the world. And we are called to bring peace, to bring justice, to bring equality to places where there is inequality. I will not stand silent and see our African and American brothers, our Hispanic brothers, our brothers and sisters who are profiled just because the color of their skin and be silent anymore. We must act in love. We must strive for love. So my friends, my call to you this morning is be the church. Be the church that in our baptismal covenant respects the dignity of every human being. Please pray for the repose of the soul of George Floyd. Please pray for a world where we don't judge each other based off the color of our skin or our creeds or who we love. But let us strive to see one another as a beloved child of God. May God's peace always be with you, and know that my love is with you all.